Hey guys, this is Chaos Chrono back with another episode. We've been having some good decks show up here in the COTA unboxing. Definitely some interesting combos. Moving on to deck number 4, we're hoping to keep going with this trend and maybe pull something really powerful out of this last display. So without further ado, let's get started. For today's deck, we have Roscoe of Sunazar Bastion. It's a Logos, Sanctum, and Mars deck. Let's open this up and see what we got. Alright, starting with Sanctum, we have Radiant. It's a 4 power 2 armor creature with a play effect of capturing 1 amber. Champion Anafel, 6 power 1 armor creature with taunt. 2 Champion Anafels. Hollow Blaster, it's an artifact. Action, heal 3 damage from a creature. Gorm of Om, it's an artifact. Omni, sacrifice Gorm of Om and destroy an artifact. We have 2 copies of Gorm of Om, nice artifact control. Virtuous Works, straight up 3 amber. That's all this card is doing, which was great in first set. Terms of Redress, amber whenever you play it. Choose a friendly creature to capture 2 amber. 2 copies of Terms of Redress. Mighty Lance. It's an action, deal 3 damage to a creature and 3 damage to a neighbor of that creature. Or Step to Heaven. Amber whenever you play it. Each player with 6 amber or more is reduced to 5 amber. Great amber control card. Blinding Light. Amber whenever you play it. Choose a house. Stun each creature of that house. Pretty nice Sanctum. Moving on to Mars, we have Zizix the Many. It's a 3 power creature with Fight Reap. You may reveal a creature from your hand. If you do, archive it, and Zizix the Many gets 3 +1 power counters. I've had Zizix get pretty big with his effect. Ixtala Bolter, 3 power creature with Fight Reap. Deal 2 damage to a creature. If this damage destroys that creature, purge it. Very nice. Ulic Megamouth, 3 power creature with Fight Reap. Use a friendly non-Mars creature. 2 copies of Ulic. 3 copies of Ulic. A lot of house cheating in Mars. Mother Gun, it's an artifact. Action, reveal any number of Mars cards from your hand. Deal damage to a creature equal to the number of Mars cards revealed this way. 2 Mother Guns. Comapod, it's an artifact. Action, reveal any number of Mars cards from your hand. For each card revealed this way, you may ready 1 Mars creature. Soft Landing, play. The next creature or artifact you play this turn enters play ready. Key Abduction, amber whenever you play it. Return each Mars creature to its owner's hand. Then you may forge a key at +9 current cost, reduced by 1 amber for each card in your hand. Very nice. Deep Probe, amber whenever you play it. Choose a house. Reveal your opponent's hand. Discard each creature of that house revealed this way. Good Disruption. And Ammonia Clouds. Deal 3 damage to each creature. Yep, that's the last Mars card. Moving on to Logos, we have Valen Analyst, 2 power creature, and each time you use an artifact, gain 1 amber. It's a nice permanent buff on the board. Doc Bookton, 5 power creature. Reap, draw a card. Dexter, 3 power creature with play, capture 1 amber. When he's destroyed, put Dexter on top of your deck. Library Babble, artifact. Action, draw a card. Wild Wormhole, amber whenever you play it, play the top card of your deck. 2 Wild Wormholes. 3 Wild Wormholes. Remote Access, amber whenever you play it, use an opponent's artifact as if it were yours. Phase Shift, you may play 1 non-Logos card this turn. 2 Phase Shifts. And Library Access. Oh my goodness, this is awesome. Play, for the remainder of your turn, each time you play another card, draw a card. Alright, I've been looking for a nice Library Access deck. And this one comes with 2 phase shifts and 3 wormholes. That is amazing. And lab work, Amber, whenever you play it, archive a card. That is the last card of the deck. Wow, what a way to finish off that deck. I'm gonna sort this out and see what we got here. Starting with Amber Generation, we have 14 pips of Amber, most of it's in Sanctum and Logos. And we have Valent Analyst that supports Amber Generation with 7 artifacts. All of which, if we use, we can gain an Amber. Obviously, Gorm Bomb is a little bit more situational in that your opponent needs to be running artifacts in order for you to really capitalize on its use. Otherwise, you'll be destroying your own artifacts. So the total, starting with 14 base, we'll just do 15 just to be conservative in case we only get to use 1 or 2 in a single turn with Valent Analyst staying on the board. With Amber Control, we're pretty limited here. 2 turns of Redress, Doorstep to Heaven, Raiding Knight, and a Dexter for Amber Control. Giving 1 point for each card will be about a 5, maybe slightly higher, but because it's only in mainly one house, that's a bit more limiting. We'll also talk about artifact control in that there's 2 Gorma Bombs and a remote access, so we can destroy or use, which is pretty nice. Overall, I'll rate that as a 2.5 for artifact control. Alright, for creature control, we're looking pretty low for direct removal. We have Mighty Lance, 2 copies of Mother Gun, and an Ammonia Clouds for direct removal. We have a Blinding Light in Sanctum that helps with the board control overall, but it's not removing creatures. And it also has a chance to hit our own if we have to call a house that both decks have. The rest, and then we have Key Abduction, which is situational that can impact the opponent's Mars board, and Yixla Bolter, which has a removal option, and it's also purge potential as well. Supporting cards, we have Hallowed Shield, which heals damage from our creatures, so that can prolong their lifespan. But unfortunately, we do have a very low creature count as well. 3 creatures in Sanctum, 5 in Mars, and 3 in Logos. So this deck only has 11 creatures. One of the lowest counts I've seen in a deck. So we're not really going to be in control of the board. Ideally, we would have wanted to see a bit more board control available. Now with the Mother Guns, it's not too bad, and some additional damage from the Bolter can be helpful. Just the fact that Mars has the most number of creatures in any given house in this deck, that will be most likely our main house. And Sanctum is there to be supportive in providing taunts to protect those creatures with the 2 Anaphales. So overall creature control, since that's mostly focused around direct removal, I'll rate it as a 4, maybe 5. But Ammonia Clouds is a double-edged sword, so that can hit ourselves. If we do have most of Mars creatures on the board, we may not want to play that. Again, very situational. We would have wanted to see a bit more of a true wipe, like Spirit's Way in Sanctum. So speed is one of the highlights of this deck. Looking at Mars, we do have Soft Landing and Comapod, which can help increase the use of both artifacts and creatures. So with Comapod, looking at the creatures here, our Bolter to really control the opponent's board and may purge some key creatures, along with Megamouth to increase usage of our creatures overall, though it's a little far and few in between. And we have Zizix the Many, which can be useful for further increasing speed in this deck. Those 4 cards are included in the second row as they're supportive of this deck's speed. Looking into the Logos, this deck has one of the best library access kits that I've seen to date. We have obviously library access, which is a huge card. However, with the update, obviously we have to purge library access now, so that's an unfortunate one-time use card these days. So a little less valuable, but this deck can definitely have a very big library access turn regardless, given it has 2 copies of Phase Shift and 3 copies of Wild Wormhole. That's potentially 5 additional cards you can play on a library access turn. Not to mention we have Dock Bookton and Library of Babel to help draw more. But that's pretty much the start of the show in terms of speed. Easily I can rate this a 12 speed, probably higher, bordering the 20 range. But with that speed, looking at the Amber Generation and Control, this is definitely a race deck with 14 pips available. So we really want to cycle through this deck as fast as possible, and logos can make that happen. There isn't too much archiving, but I would potentially try to archive as much of the Sanctum as I can, especially with the Amber control. So looking at race style decks these days, there are definitely counters to them. There is unfortunately not a great key cheat for this deck unless you had a Mars board set already. So overall, I'm gonna rate this deck at a 70, just in the nature of its combo and speed. However, this deck is very swingy, meaning if it hits, it hits. If it doesn't, then it might be a little dead in the water. There's also some cards that we may not want to hit, the ones that are a bit double-edged off that wild wormhole, things like ammonia clouds, because if you hit that instead of, let's say, a key abduction or something else that can be useful, you might wipe your own board. I would have liked to see some more board control in the form of a true wipe, as opposed to something like ammonia clouds that damages both sides, especially with our side having more small creatures than not. But in any case, that's the deck for today. I'll post up the DOK page afterwards and see how we did. Hope you guys enjoyed this content. If you did, hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel to support it. And as usual, be kind and happy forging.